Punggol Condo Part 2. Can buy or buy? In today's discussion, I will discuss 3 points in detail. Firstly, I will use the developer profit margin theory to make sense of the return of the 13 condominiums. I will explore if there is a correlation between developer profit margin and the returns. Secondly, I will discuss if it is worthwhile buying a resale unit once the condo has TOP. Can you possibly make a profit after holding it after the seller's stamp duty period? Thirdly, I will study if the smaller unit or the bigger unit will make the most money. If you are an investor, will you be keen to know which condo can make the most money? Hi, my name is Alan from Alan V Property. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In my earlier video, I have mentioned why eco-pollutant only achieved a 36% return in comparison to its peers that did so much better with up to 64% return. Here, I will add the land cost, break-even price, and the estimated profit margin each developer is making. Interestingly, the land that eco-pollutant sit on was purchased through a state tender at $314 PSF PPR. This is almost in line with other EC that are sold almost at the same time. However, eco-pollutant launch price was higher at 815 PSF, and this is the highest PSF for the EC back in Punggol. This could be due to its proximity to Punggol MRT station. But wait, the developer also has a higher profit margin at 28%. The developer can sell cheaper, but anyway, they don't need to. The return for eco-pollutant is low mainly due to 3 reasons. Firstly, the buyer paid a higher price, therefore, they will have to exit with less. The second reason could be because of its proximity to the highway, which make it less appealing. Thirdly, if you look at another angle, eco-pollutant could be undervalued. It is one of the newest resale EC and near MRT station, but yet it is transacted at 1,100 PSF. Next, let's go to Watertown. Take note that I do not have Watertown exact land cost for the residential portion, as this is a mixed development. I will use Treasure Trove land cost and construction cost as reference since they are transacted almost at the same time. Interestingly, if my numbers are right, the developer could possibly make a cool 50% profit margin if the selling price for the bigger unit is 1179 PSF. Impressive return. So what can we conclude here? Before committing to any launch, it's good to know what is the upcoming supply and the land cost that the developer has bought. This is important as it will give you an idea how much they plan to sell. In this case, Treasure was purchased at 407 PSF PPR, whereas Watertown was purchased at 753 PSF PPR. This is 85% more. But wait, Watertown is a mixed development with a mall, so obviously the land cost will be higher. So when Treasure was launched with a 16% profit margin using the developer profit margin at 912 PSF, if you are observant enough to realize Watertown will definitely be selling above this price as it is an integrated development. So the question will be, will you buy a standalone condo or the pricey integrated development? The choice is ultimately yours depending on your investment strategy. For me, if the price difference is too big, I will go for Treasure as I can get a 4-bedder as compared to a 3-bedder in a mixed development. I prefer space more than convenient. Anyway, how many times can I go to a shopping mall in a month? Watertown was launched at 1179 PSF. This is a 29% difference. Ask yourself if it is worthwhile to pay an extra 29% in the first place. If it is justifiable, then please proceed. Next, I'm going to discuss if it is worthwhile buying a resale condo that has TOP. For our discussion, I will only compare those condos that have at least 3 transactions since TOP. I will then average out their profit after they are sold, as well as their annualized return. In this table, it shows that if you have purchased a TOP condo and held it after the seller's stamp duty period, you will be making an average of 190,000 for River Isles to 260,000 for Treasure Trove. However, if you have bought a TOP EC and resold it after the SSD period, you'll be making an average profit of more than 300,000 for Privé and 370,000 for River Park residents. On a side note, Watertown has a very high profit, which seems unusual. So I decided to explore further. The data is skewed because a resale unit was bought at a low of 1239 PSF and resold for the cool 770,000 profit in just 5 years. This means that if you look hard enough, there is still gem to be picked up in the lucrative resale market. For this study, I will only compare the private condominiums as they are smaller units to compare with. Here, I will compare the past 20 transactions and exclude those resale units. I will separate the data into below 1,000 square feet and above 1,000 square feet. Here, I have compiled the data as follows. Transactions that measure less than 1,000 square feet have achieved an average of 220,000 in profit and a 2.6% annualized return. On the other hand, transactions that are greater than 1,000 square feet achieve an average of 360,000 in profit or a 3% annualized return. What can we conclude here? Obviously, if you buy a smaller unit, your return will be lower. If you buy a bigger unit, you will fetch a higher return. But wait, it will be interesting to take a look at the annualized return. The data has shown that bigger units tend to outperform the smaller unit. This can be explained that owner-occupied units tend to have a higher demand. Another reason is because developers usually price the smaller unit at a higher PSF, and hence they will usually make a higher profit for the smaller unit than the bigger unit. This is also supported by my developer profit margin theory. That's all. I've come to the end of this Punggol series. It's not easy to compile and access all this data. There are really a lot of work involved. Nevertheless, hope you have enjoyed this video and see you around soon.